Wow, okay. That was a bit too long of a break, but I needed some time off to take a step back and then some more time to recover from that. All in all, I had a nice vacation and recovery period. And yeah, it's good to be back. I apologize if my voice doesn't agree with me being back. It's still on vacation mode. But it was much needed rest, so I hope you don't have a problem with that. Now, even on this break, I've had so much time to think about a lot of things, to interact with the people I thought were the closest, to explore new things, to meet new people as well. And I have some, actually, I have many, many thoughts. And I think I'm going to take today to just discuss musings and experiences that I've had over the last couple of weeks. Just recently, I had a lovely evening with one of my friends from school. We were meeting after, I think, a couple of months, but it did not feel like a single day had passed since we last saw each other. And that wasn't because we stayed in touch or anything, but despite the gap in information about each other's lives, there was not a moment in that entire evening that seemed awkward or distant or forced. In fact, earlier that day, I was sitting and scrolling through Instagram. I was actually looking for inspiration on what to talk about in my next episode or what I should cover, what I should discuss. And coincidentally, I came across a post by Emma Chamberlain where she was talking about how she was done with shitty relationships and shitty friendships. And in that moment, where I was sitting with my friend, it just sort of clicked that this is something I should probably discuss. So that brings us to now. And in this moment, I truly feel fulfilled because of some very limited but very significant friendships in my life. I recently graduated from my master's, and the convocation was something that I was really looking forward to. It was the first time I was actually getting a convocation thanks to COVID, and I think it's a huge achievement to fulfill a course, to complete a degree, and all in all, I think I was super proud of myself for having reached that stage in life. And let me tell you, when I look forward to something this huge, something that's essentially a once in a lifetime moment, I get excited. And by getting excited, I mean I become excited like a kid. And I just plan it in my head to a T what all things I want to do, how I want to go about doing that, what I want to wear, how I want to look like, who I want to be with, all of it. And just like any other important day of my life, this was one day that I was truly planning in my head. This was one day that I needed to celebrate myself and my achievements, and I was so, so, so incredibly happy. But the problem with such peaking excitement is that even if the slightest thing goes wrong, even if one card is not in place, or if one thing goes haywire, the whole thing comes crashing down. Your entire energy, your entire excitement just drops from a fucking thousand to zero in a matter of seconds. When so much build up is at stake, it doesn't take much to get all of that down to zero. In fact, way below zero. And this time, the one responsible for bursting my bubble and bringing me tumbling down from 1000 to zero was none other than my own parents. which should actually come as a shock because it's their big day too. It's their money, it's their child. I'm sure that is something that they have also been looking forward to. In that moment, it became clear to me that not even your parents are willing to go that long mile for you or make the kind of sacrifices necessary for you to achieve the perfect day. So it's rather futile on your part to expect that things will be perfect, which makes me so furious because if I've worked so hard for something, if I have made the sacrifices, if I have gone the long mile, why do I not get to celebrate my day the way I want? And this is not something like a birthday that I could probably come to next year. This is a once in a lifetime event. And it was so easy to be thrown off that pedestal that I put myself on that day. And especially when that blow comes from someone as close to you as your family, it really shakes you up. And in that moment, where do you go? Who do you call? Where do you find your safety net? After a point, you really just have to swallow your pride, put fire to those perfect expectations that you have in your head, and just let the idea of things working out the way you want be what it is, an idea. Talking about the idea of things going perfectly, I had another bright one, and that was the decision to go to Goa with my college friends. Now, I'm not complaining about my choice of place. I have no issues with Goa. It's a beautiful place. But in retrospect, I do have some reservations about my choice of people, the people that I decided to go to that place with. And that reservation comes from the fact that not every friend that you have is supposed to be a friend that you take a trip with. You don't need to see them on vacation, and they don't need to see you on vacation because some things just don't match. And you could be so careful with the kind of energy and with the kind of people that you surround yourself with. But unfortunately, there will always be certain peculiar characters that even if you feed them with your own hands, they will require you to come and do the chewing and swallowing for them. And you could plan the whole thing, you can make the bookings, you can give them the itinerary, you can make sure everything's in place, make sure everyone's well rested, well fed, everything's safe, etc., etc., etc. And you know what that would make you? A star planner? No, that makes you a bitch. And once I came to this bridge in my life, I immediately promised myself that if I want to raise kids, I'll raise my own. I don't need to raise someone else's man child. It's not my job. It's not what I'm getting paid for. Sorry, not happening. So, for everyone's benefit, this is the first kind of people that I need to chuck out of my life right now. The second category of quote unquote friends that I need to chuck out of my life are the ones who don't find anything to be sacred. Nothing is sacred to them. Not their families, not their relationships, not their friendships, not their career, not their academic life, not their physical or emotional health, nothing at all. If I'm being honest, even I have fallen prey sometimes to their very misguided brand of thinly veiled disrespect packaged as fun and chill, which is honestly ridiculous. But I feel that I have to give credit where it's due because the last 2 weeks were not all bad. One of my greatest takeaways from this entire week was that spending time with the right kind of people really fixes things. And I have to admit, I'm stealing this line from Ye Jawani Hai Diwani. But Aditi was right when she said that कुछ लोगों के साथ सिर्फ वक्त गुजारने से सब ठीक हो जाता है. I don't think some of my friends even realize that they're unknowingly healing parts of me that they didn't even break in the first place. And I say this because when I came back initially, once I was done with my course, I was feeling so lost. And more than lost, I felt like I was being disrespected. And not in a very explicit kind of way, but in a way that I could physically feel the people around me lose respect for me because I was no longer doing anything, so to say. At that point, from where I was standing, all I could think about was this desperate need that I had to get a job, to finally become independent. And in that desperation, I never realized to take a step back and enjoy the time that I was given, this break that I was blessed with. I was starting to feel rejected. I was starting to feel like people didn't look up to me like they used to. They feel that now I'm just sitting at home, just spending my dad's money. And basically, I had a very ugly reflection of myself in my own head. And even when I would look in the mirror, I was constantly critical. I was constantly sad. And for the life of me, I could not find a single good thing about me or my life. Until this trip happened. Other than the man children that I previously spoke about, I also met some friends of mine from undergrad. People who knew me when I knew absolutely nothing about the world and how it works. But the way that they still see me 5 years later, it really made me rethink the way I was viewing my own life. It made me rethink the way I was looking at myself, and I had a massive change in perspective because these guys only had admiration and good things to say about me. And I don't mean this in a narcissistic kind of way, but I felt truly appreciated. I felt truly seen. These guys I hadn't even met in years, but the way they appreciated, the way they kind of acknowledged the effort that I put into my masters over the last 2 years, and in other aspects of my life as well, it surely made me feel seen. And more than being seen, I felt appreciated, I felt acknowledged, and I felt like someone was proud of me. And this was not in my head, these were like their words, not mine. They constantly reassured me, and I came home a different person, which led me to a very interesting realization. And that is the fact that, for better or for worse, most of what we do and most of who we are is a direct reflection of the people that we have in our lives, the kind of company that we keep. And in times like these, where you feel like you're lost or you feel like you're losing a sense of who you truly are, these are the people that you turn to. These are the people who become your rock, and these are the very people that bring you out of it, push you to be a better person, and to not let you dwell on this phase. Because at the end of the day, good or bad, all of it is a phase. It's going to pass. And like most times we know that. But from time to time, we just need that reassurance and that reminder that this too shall pass. And I think you could be the most intelligent, the most aware person in the world, but you might still need a reminder from time to time. So now that I'm back home, I'm truly filled with gratitude for people, both good and bad, that push you to be a better you. I think it goes without saying that I'm grateful for the friends that make me feel seen, that make me feel appreciated and respected. But more importantly, I'm grateful for those idiots that made me look like a fool for thinking that they're my friends. Because, in a twisted way, without them, I wouldn't have appreciated the good ones as much. And also because without their stupidity and lack of appreciation for me, I wouldn't have gotten that necessary push to realize that I no longer want these shitty friendships and relationships, and it's about damn time that I walk away from them. So basically, this entire episode was my way of giving those people a little thank you note, because I might not be the most expressive friend when it comes to sharing gratitude. Was that a mic drop moment? It felt like a mic drop moment, which is probably something I should not do because the mic is kind of new and kind of expensive, but you get the point, right? Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your time, your attention. This was episode 3 of Thought Vault Perspective.